Hello friends, a very warm welcome to another topic that we would discuss today pertaining to quantitative aptitude for paper 2, that is CSAT. And the topic for today is simple interest. Well, as the title suggests, the interest is simple and so is the topic. So let us have a look at basic concepts and how we are going to apply them and solve the questions using the shortest possible method. So first of all, let's get our basics right. Principal, what is principal amount? Now, principal basically is the sum of money which is borrowed by a person or taken on loan or is invested, let us say in bank. Now, let us say that you take a house loan. Now, if you take a housing loan worth 10 lakh rupees, that happens to be the principal amount on which some interest will be charged, which would be included in your monthly installments, which are called EMIs. Now, similarly, time or T is the duration for which a sum is borrowed or taken on loan. That is, the principal amount is taken on loan for a particular duration, which is represented by time symbol T. Rate of interest. It is that percentage of your principal amount which is charged to you as interest. In case of EMIs, it might get distributed over years and months, but then simple interest is charged most of the times on annual basis. And what is interest? When a person takes a loan or borrows money from another person or a financial institution like bank, he has to pay them an extra amount on the loan amount. Now, this extra amount that you pay, which also hurts you a lot, is called interest on the principal sum. Now, this extra money is called interest on the principal sum. So, let's talk about the types of interest that we are going to discuss. Today's topic is simple interest, although there is another type of interest which is called compound interest. Now, this we will be discussing in another session, and wherein we will also see what is the difference between simple interest and compound interest. As far as simple interest is concerned, the interest which is charged only on the principal sum for a definite period of time on a fixed rate of interest, whereas compound interest is charged on principal sum. Apart from the principal sum, the interest that gets accrued or that gets collected or accumulated, even on that interest is charged and added on to the total interest. This is called compound interest. We will discuss this in detail in another session. As far as simple interest is concerned, it is charged only on the principal sum, not on the interest. So SI, as it is called in short, is charged on principal sum for a given number of years, will always be the same each year. So suppose that you have taken 1,000 rupees on loan. This becomes your principal amount. Let us say the rate of interest is 20%. So 20% of 1,000 works out to be rupees 200. And if the duration, let us say, is 5 years, then you will be charged 200 rupees every year on this 1,000 rupees. Be it 5 years or be it n number of years, provided the rate of interest remains the same. Now, how do we calculate simple interest? A very, very simple formula. Now, let me tell you that each and every question that you get on simple interest would be using this particular formula. What is that? Well, simple interest is principal P multiplied with time T multiplied with rate of interest or rate R divided by 100. Why divided by 100? Because of this rate of interest is always expressed in percentage. So 10%, as you know, is nothing but it is equivalent to 10 by 100. That is what we had learned in percentage chapter. So in short, we can say SI is equal to PTR by 100, or some people prefer calling it PRT by 100, whichever way you feel comfortable. But this formula will be used quite frequently for each and every question pertaining to simple interest. Now, there is one more expression or formula which you would be using as per the requirement of the question, and that is amount, to calculate the final amount. Now, what is the final amount? It is the sum of principal and interest. Well, as I told you, suppose you have borrowed 1,000 rupees loan, which becomes the principal amount, at rate of interest 20%, and time duration given to you is 5 years. So finally, after 5 years, what is the amount that you get? It is the principal plus the simple interest. How much is the simple interest that we have obtained here in the 5 years? 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 5 times. So that is rupees 1,000. So the total amount that you end up paying after 5 years will include the principal which you had borrowed plus the interest on that principal that you have to pay. Now, in this case, for this particular example, it works out to be 1,000, which is a principal amount, plus 1,000, which is a simple interest. So the final amount you end up paying is 2,000 rupees in 5 years. Now, let us look at certain questions. These are the two expressions that you should be bothered about, or you should use for solving any question that comes your way. Nothing else apart from these two. Now, look at the first question. It says if rupees 1,000 is given on loan at 10% annual rate of simple interest, then how much interest will be obtained after 5 years? Now, 1,000 is given on loan, it is loan, so this becomes the principal. 10% annual rate of simple interest, this becomes rate of interest R. After 5 years, this becomes the duration T. And what is he asking you? How much interest? So what is to be found out here? It is simple interest. So we know by the formula, simple interest is principal into time into rate by 100, or in simple terms, SI is equal to PTR by 100. Now, using this formula, we just need to substitute the values for the variables. So here, principal, this is your time period, this is rate of interest by 100. And as you can see here, this 100 here cancels this 10 and this 0. So finally, the simple interest obtained is this 100 multiplied with 5, which amounts to rupees 500. That would be the simple interest that you will have to pay on rupees 1,000 for 5 years at 10% annual rate of interest. So simple enough. Let's twist this question a bit. Now, I'm using the same figures so that you know which variable needs to be calculated using the same formula. That is SI is equal to PTR by 100. So now for how many years? Now what is it that you need to find out? How many years? This is not given to us. So T is to be found out here. Should rupees 1,000, this is principal B, at 10% annual rate of simple interest, this is R, be given as loan so that rupees 1,500 is obtained at the end of the period. Now at the end of the period, the amount which is obtained is 1,500. Now what does it include? It includes principal along with simple interest. So principal 1,000 plus simple interest is giving us an amount which is 1,500. So from this only you can judge that simple interest is just 500. Anyhow, using the basic formula, that is SI is PTR by 100, or using the formula that is amount is equal to principal plus simple interest, amount given to us here is 1,500, principal is 1,000, remainder is SI. So SI here, or simple interest, becomes 1,500 minus 1,000. As we discussed, it is rupees 500. Now let us substitute this value of SI here in this formula. As I told you before, these are the only two formulas that you should be bothered about whenever you get a question based on simple interest. So SI is 500, principal is given to you as 1,000, time period, we need to find out, rate of interest mentioned is 10 divided by 100, removing the zeros here, and removing these zeros here, time works out to be 5 years. Now let us give another twist to this question. Suppose I put the question in front of you in such a way that at how much rate of simple interest, how much rate of simple interest means rate of interest needs to be found out. So R is what you need to calculate here. Should rupees 1000 be given on loan? So 1000 becomes the principal. For 5 years, so time duration is 5 years. So as to earn a simple interest of rupees 500, so what is this rupees 500? This is the simple interest. So once again, using the basic formula, SI is equal to PTR by 100. SI is already given to us as 500. Principal is given as 1000. Time duration as 5. Rate of interest you need to find out. Simple substitution, simple calculation. We should be in a position to solve this. So we know that rate of interest works out to be 10% here. So we have given various twists to this question using the same figure. That is, principal is 1000, rate of interest is 10%, time duration is 5 years, simple interest is 500, and amount obtained after 5 years is 1500. Now, as simple as that, you have 4 variables given to you in this formula. Which are those? Simple interest, principal, time, rate of interest. Out of these, 3 would be given to you in the question. 4th one you can easily find out just by substituting the figures in this formula. Alright, let's have a look at another question here. In how many years? So what is it that we need to find out? Time, that is T. This is unknown. Will a principal sum get doubled at 10% rate of simple interest per annum? So rate of interest is given to us here as 10%. Is principal sum given? No. So let's take it as P. Now what is it? Now what is happening? It is getting doubled. So which means that amount here that we receive after T years is twice the initial principal. So if amount we know is principal plus simple interest, we know that amount that we should receive after T years is double the principal amount. This is P, principal and simple interest. So hence simple interest here works out to be 2P minus P, that is P. So simple interest is equal to P. Now this is through mathematical working that we have got to this figure that simple interest is same as the principal. Now as simple as that, if the amount gets doubled, it means that principal and simple interest are going to be the same. If amount gets tripled, let us say 3 times, then it is nothing but principal plus 2 times the principal, that is P plus 2P. So if amount is 3 times the principal, thrice the principal, so amount is principal plus 2P. What is this 2P? Has to be SI. If the amount is 4 times the principal sum, in such a case, amount is P plus 3P. Now this 3P is nothing but it is the simple interest. So when it is mentioned in the question that amount is n times, let us say amount is n times P, so in that case, simple interest is n minus 1 times P. As you can see, amount is 4 times P, then simple interest is 3P. Amount is 3 times P, then simple interest is 2P. And if amount is double, then in that case, simple interest is again n minus 1, 2 minus 1, that is P. So now let us just use the simple formula that we have, that is simple interest is equal to PTR by 100. Now what is simple interest that we found out? It is very much equal to P. Again P, T we need to find out anyhow. Rate of interest is given, that is 10 divided by 100, zeros cancel, even P cancels here. So this 10 goes here, so 10 is equal to T. So T is nothing but 10 years. So in 10 years of duration at 10% rate of interest, a principal sum will get doubled. So after 10 years, we receive double the amount. Let's have a look at another question here. For a certain sum of money, so this certain sum of money, its value is not known. So let us assume this to be P. the simple interest earned is 4 by 25 of the sum of money. So principal here is P, simple interest is 4 by 25 times the sum of money, that is P. And the number of years is the same as the rate of interest per annum. So the number of years is same as rate of interest per annum. Then find out the rate of simple interest per annum. So R is what we need to find out here. Once again, we have a simple formula. SI is equal to PTR by 100. So substituting these values here, SI is 4 by 25P is equal to P into, now as T the time is the same as R the rate of interest, and we are supposed to find out the value of variable R. So we will write T here as R only, so that we reduce the number of variables, because we don't require time period here. That by 100. So the P's cancel here, as you can see. 4 by 25 is equal to R square by 100. You can cancel this here. Becomes 4. Goes here. So 16 is equal to R square. So we know that 16 is square of 4. So rate of interest here has to work out to be 4%. So once again, you found out that everything is given and we are using only one particular formula, that is SI is equal to PTR by 100. Substitute the values which are known to you. If at all there is any variable for which the value is not prescribed, like here in this case, P is equal to P, something or the other would be given to you, through which these two P's will cancel, the T becomes equal to R, and obviously you would be left with only one variable. So please remember, SI is equal to PTR by 100, amount A is equal to P plus SI, and this does your job for each and every single question which is based on simple interest. As simple as that. Next question. If a certain sum of money, again, certain sum of money means it is P, it is not given to you, the value is unknown, becomes 4 times itself, means it becomes 4P. What is this? This is amount. In 20 years, so T is given to you at simple interest. Then find out the annual rate of interest. So what is it that we need to find out? What is the unknown? Rate of interest, that is R. So now we have two formulas which are known to us. Now using these formulas, we know A is equal to P plus SI. In such a case, A is already given to you as 4P. This is P plus SI. So obviously, as we had discussed previously, that simple interest would be N minus 1 times P whenever A is N times P. So if A is N times P, simple interest is going to be N minus 1 times P. Here A is 4 times P. So simple interest is 4 minus 1 times P, that is 3P. So I'm just reiterating. So simple interest here becomes 3P. Now let us substitute this in this formula. So you have 3P, that is simple interest. Principal is not mentioned, we are taking it as P. The time period is already mentioned to us here, that is 20 years. Well, rate of interest is what we are supposed to find here. So divide by 100. As you can see, this variable P gets cancelled and you are left with only one variable R. Rest all is easy calculation. So as simple as that, this 20 and 100 they cancel by 5. This 5 will go here. So 5 into 3 is equal to R. So rate of interest that we needed to find out is 15% per annum simple interest. Alright, let's have a look at this question. If a certain sum of money, now the value for this sum of money is not mentioned, so let us take it as P, becomes 3.5 times itself. That means the amount will become 3.5 times P at 10% per annum simple interest. So the rate of interest is already given to you as 10% in a certain period of time. How much? How many years? Not mentioned. So it is to be taken as T years. Then at what rate of interest? Now this was the initial rate of interest. Now he is posing another condition in the second part of this question. So this is the new rate of interest that you need to find out or calculate. Then at what rate of simple interest per annum will that sum of money, that is P only, become 2.5 times itself in the same duration. So the amount here is 2.5p. So what he's asking is that at 10% per annum rate of interest, a principal sum for T years becomes 3.5 times itself. So amount is 3.5p. Now at what new rate of interest will this sum of money, that is P, will become 2.5 times itself, lesser than 3.5, so that the new rate of interest will be lesser than 10%. Okay, now we already know this, that amount here is nothing but it is n times P. So in this case, amount mentioned is, in the first case it is 3.5 times P. So the simple interest, we know simple interest is n minus 1 times P. So it will be 2.5p, right? Now we have the formula with us, that is SI is equal to PTR by 100. Now SI we will take from here, that is 2.5 times P equals to, again P is unknown, even T, the time period is unknown, we have taken it as T years here, but rate of interest is already given to you, that is 10% into 10 by 100. So the zeros cancel here, the p's cancel here, and 10 goes here. So 10 into 2.5 is 25. So the time period can be found out initially using this data, that is 25 years. Now the latter part of the question, it says at what rate of interest, simple interest per annum, will that sum of money become 2.5 times itself. Now, let us say the new amount which is given to you here is 2.5 times P. So then simple interest here becomes 1.5 times P, one less. So again using this formula here, this time simple interest is 1.5p, taking from here, is equal to P into T, which is 25 years, because it is for the same duration. So T we already know from here, into R new that we need to find out, divide by 100. Now the P's cancel. This 25, this is 4, this 4 will go here. So 1.5 into 4 is the new rate of interest. So the new rate of interest works out to be 6% per annum, which becomes the answer here. Next question. At a certain annual rate of simple interest, at a certain annual rate of simple interest means R is not given to you, so we assume it to be R only. Rupees 2,400 amounts to rupees 2,760 in 5 years. This 5 years is T, this rupees 2,760 is the amount, and rupees 2,400 is the principal sum. Now principal sum 2,400 has become 2,760 in 5 years at a certain annual rate of interest which is unknown, which we are taking here as R. Now if the rate of interest, now a condition has been included in the second part of this question, if the rate of interest would have been 2% more, that is 2% more than the previous rate of interest, then the final amount obtained would have been. So you have to find out the new amount that you will obtain. Now see, we will solve this question using the formula, and we will also use another shortcut for this. Now, first of all, we already have the formula SI is equal to PTR by 100. Also, we know that A is equal to N times P. Now here it is already given to you. Now we already know that principal is 2,400 and amount is 2,760. So amount here is principal plus simple interest. Or let us say simple interest is amount minus P, that is 2760 minus 2400, which amounts to 360. So simple interest is known to us, principal is known to us, time duration is known to us. We can always find out the rate of interest. Let's do this. So simple interest here is 360, principal 2400, time duration 5 years, rate of interest R by 100. So these two zeros cancel these zeros. 24 ones are 24, 120 left, so 24 fives are. So 5 and 15 also cancel and becomes 3. So the previous rate of interest here was 3%. Now, in the second part of the question, he is giving you a condition that the rate of interest would have been 2% more. If the rate of interest would have been 2% more, so the new rate of interest will be 3%, the previous one, plus 2% more, that is 5%. So what he is asking you is, if the rate of interest now becomes 5% for the same principal, for the same period of time, then the final amount would have been how much? Well, then the simple interest would be how much? Using the formula, SI is equal to PTR by 100. Let us calculate this. This is 2400. Time period is 5. New rate of interest is also 5 by 100. Cancels. So this is 24 into 25, which is 600. So the new simple interest value would become 600 rupees. Hence, the new amount is going to be the principal plus new simple interest, that is 2400 plus the 600. The new amount that you will get here will be rupees 3000. Now that is one way of finding this out. Another method here is, when you have found out that the simple interest is 360, it is for 5 years. So simple interest per year will be 360 by 5, that is 72. So directly you can calculate on 2400 rupees, on 2400, 72 is what percent? It cancels, it is 3%. So directly you will get the rate of interest. Now, if you add 2% more to it, it should become 5%. So 5% of 2400 is rupees 120, which for 5 years will amount to 600. So let us directly add the 600 to 2400 to get the new amount as 3000. This is another way in which you could have done this. But if you like to stick to the formula approach, this is how we will do it. Obviously here, while explaining, I might be increasing the number of steps because I have to write down every single step to explain the process to and the question to you. Whereas during the examination, you should be really fast. See, the lesser you will write, the lesser time you will consume. And so more will be your number of attempts and more will be your chances of clearing this paper. And for that matter, any paper. So try to do some calculations in your mind, reduce the number of steps, and then you can go along finding out the answer. Now look at the next question. The annual rate of simple interest on rupees 5,000. On rupees 5,000, so this is your principal amount. For the first 2 years is 5%. For the next 3 years is 6%. For the next 4 years is 8%. So find out the total interest earned after 9 years. Now the simple interest has been split into 3 parts. For the first 2 years at R1%. For the next 3 years, that is for next T2 years, R2%. And for the next 4 years, that is T3 years, it is R3%. Now we know we have a simple formula, that is simple interest is PTR by 100. Well, if simple interest is not the same for each year, we have different pockets of years as it is given here, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, T1, T2, T3, and you have R1, R2, R3, three different percentages or rate of interest. In that case, you can simply say SI is equal to P by 100 T1 R1 plus T2 R2 plus T3 R3. That's all that you need to do. Or else you will have to write down this formula 3 times. First for 2 years you will calculate, then for the next 3 years. See, even for next 3 years and for the next 4 years also, the principle will remain same. So that is why I have taken it outside as common. Divide by 100 is also same. It's only T and R which are fluctuating or which are changing. Okay, so let's use this formula. So principal is given to you here as 5,000. Divide by 100. Then first 2 years, 5%. So 2 into 5. Next 3 years, 6%. So plus, that is 3 into 6. Next 4 years, 8%. So that is 4 into 8. So this goes, this is 50. Then 2 into 5, we have 10. 3 into 6 is 18. And 4 into 8 is 32. We can add these two. Becomes 50 plus 10, that is 60. So 50 into 60, it is 3,000. Now this will be the total simple interest that would be obtained in 9 years. So very simple way of solving such kind of questions wherein different pockets are given to you. By that what I mean different rate of interest for different years. But the principle is same. So you can always use this particular method, which will work out as a shortcut also. Let's have a look at this question. A certain sum of money, now this is not mentioned, so let's take it as P, at simple interest charged per annum. How much? We don't know. So the rate of interest is R only. Amounts to rupees 1,200 in 2 years. So this is the amount received in 2 years. And this is the first time period. And in 5 years, it amounts to rupees 1,500. Now, this is the amount which is obtained in 5 years. Now, find out the sum of money. Now, we know that simple interest is the same for each year. Now, the amount obtained in 5 years is rupees 1,500, as is given to us here, as you can see. And amount obtained in 2 years is rupees 1,200. So it simply means that simple interest in 3 years was rupees 300, the difference of these two. Because the amount was 1,200 after 2 years and it increased by 300 rupees to become rupees 1,500 in 5 years. So in this 2 years to 5 years, this 3 years duration, it is a simple interest which was the increment and that is 300 rupees. So simple interest per year is nothing but it is 300 by 3, which is rupees 100. So we know here that the amount obtained after 2 years is 1,200. And every year the simple interest charge is 100 rupees. So that means amount for 2 years is principal plus simple interest for 2 years. So if this is 1,200, this is P, this must be 200. So the principal amount which we should get here has to be rupees 1,000. So you can very well work it out orally as well. The difference here is 300, per year is 100. For 2 years, 1,200 is obtained. Remove simple interest for 2 years, subtract 200 from 1,200, you get rupees 1,000. So here in this question, just by calculating the differences between the amounts which we receive in different years, we can find out the simple interest. And do not forget that simple interest is always the same for each year. Let's have a look at the next question. A certain sum of money, unknown, so let's have it as P, was given on loan for 4 years, this is T, at a certain annual rate of simple interest. So R is unknown here. Let's take it as R. If the rate of interest would have been 2% more, then the simple interest earned would have been rupees 120. So this is the new simple interest. That is 120 more than the previous simple interest. Find out the sum of money given on loan. See, it's a very simple question. The point here is you are increasing the rate of interest by 2% and the amount gets increased by rupees 120. So increase by 2% in the rate of interest is the same as increase of rupees 120 as far as the value goes. So 2% is same as 120. So 100% will be the same as what? Well, it is 100 by 2 into 120, which is nothing but rupees 6,000. So the principal amount or the sum of money which was given on loan is rupees 6,000. Now here you need not find out the original rate of interest or the original simple interest, not required. The question needs you to find out the principal amount. So just use the unitary method. If 2% increase is equivalent to 120 rupees increase, then 100% increase would be how much? That is going to be 6,000, which is 100%, which is the principal amount. As the rate of interest is always calculated on the principal amount. Alright, the next question says rupees 2,200 is borrowed at 5% per annum simple interest for 5 years. So rupees 2,200 is principal, 5% per annum is rate of interest, and 5 years is the time period, that is T. So find out the yearly installment to return this money. So we will use our formula, that is SI is equal to PTR by 100. So you need to find out the simple interest because you would be paying off the original loan that you have borrowed plus the interest. That is what is the total amount. So first let us find out simple interest. So simple interest is equal to P, which is 2,200 into time period, which is 5, and rate of interest, which is 5, divided by 100. So zeros cut here. You are left with 22 into 25. So basically what you get here is a 25 to a 50 plus 5, you have a 550. So the total simple interest obtained here is 550. Now the principal that you have here is 2,200. Simple interest that you have to pay is 550. So the amount at the end of 5 years that you have to pay will be the principal amount 2,200 plus simple interest. We already know amount is principal plus simple interest, simple as that. That is 2,750. Now the yearly installment that you will pay will be this 2,750 divided by 5 years. Total number of years is 5. So that is 5 5s are 25. So another 25. So 5. Again, it happens to be 550 rupees. So every year you will pay 550 rupees to clear off this particular loan of 2,200. That will be your yearly installment. Let's have a look at this question. A person invested a part of rupees 7,000. This is your total principal sum at 6% per annum and the remaining money at 4% per annum. If he receives rupees 1,600 as the total simple interest after 5 years, then how much money did he invest at 6% per annum rate of interest? So basically a person has invested rupees 7,000. Now a part of it he has invested at 6% and the remaining he has invested at 4%. This is a story. And their combined simple interest, the total simple interest obtained after 5 years is given to us as rupees 1,600. So there we go. Now you have to find out the amount that he invested at 6% per annum rate of interest, this one. Now let us assume this as X. So simple as that. We know our formula is simple interest is PTR by 100. That is known to us. Now we also know this, that total simple interest that he obtains in 5 years is simple interest that he obtains at the part which is invested at 6% plus the simple interest that he obtains at the part which is invested at 4%. So this is what we have here, out of which this is already known as 1600. Now at 6%, how much is invested? We are assuming this to be investment of X. So here, how much gets invested at 4%? The remaining amount. Remaining amount is 7,000 minus X. 6% you are investing X. Out of 7,000, you are investing X. How much remains? 7,000 minus X. That is what you are investing at 4%. So P into T, that is 5 years, into R, that is 6 years, by 100. Plus, at 4%, we are investing 7,000 minus X. So 7,000 minus X for 5 years at 4% rate of interest. Now don't immediately start cancelling the numerator and denominator values. Just hold on. So let us take this equation a bit further. Well, this will become 1600 into 100. That is equal to 5 into 6 is 30. So this is 30x. Now this LCM or the denominator here is becoming 100. I'm taking it on the left hand side. Plus this 5 into 4 we know is 20. So 20, first we are multiplying with 7,000. So what we get is a 140000 minus 20. Then we are multiplying with this x. So minus 20x. Now let us solve this equation. Now this happens to be 160000. We will take this here. Minus 140000 is equal to 30x minus 20x, which is 10x. So x here becomes, well, 16 minus 14 we know is 2, followed by 0000 by 10, because this is 10x, right? So this means the amount x which is invested at 6% is 2,000. So this 7,000 is invested in such a way that 2,000 out of 7,000 is invested at 6%, and remaining 5,000 is invested at 4%. And then the total simple interest obtained is 1,600, which is given to us here. Now you can also make use of the alligation method, as we had learned in mixtures and alligations. Now if this 7,000, let us say the principal here is 7,000. If the complete amount is invested at 6%, then what is the simple interest that we will obtain? Well, 7 6 are 42. So that is 420. And if this principal 7,000 would have been invested at 4% completely, then what will be the simple interest obtained? Well, it would be 280, but this is per year. But actually, how much simple interest is obtained? It is 1,600 for 5 years. So per year, it will be 1,600 by 5, that is 320. So now we will make use of alligation method, as I had explained earlier to you. So what you get here is a 420 minus 320, which is 100. What you get here is a 320 minus 280, that is 40. Zeros cancel, so 4 is to 10, which works out to be 2 is to 5. The ratio amounts to 7 points, equivalent to 7,000. So multiplier here is 1,000, as we had learned in ratios. So 2 into 1,000, that is 2,000, will be the amount which is invested at 6%. You can use alligation method as well. Alright, now in how many years will a sum of money? Now how many years means you need to find out the time period. This is the unknown. Will a sum of money not mentioned, the value is unknown, let's take it as P, become 40% more than itself. So this is amount which is 40% more than the principal, that is, it is 1.4 times the principal at 5% per annum rate of interest, that is R is also given to you. So using the method, the formula the process that is there, SI is equal to PTR by 100. Also, we know that A is N times P. Then simple interest is N minus 1 times P. Now let's have a look here. A is given to you here as 1.4 times P. That is 40% more. So simple interest here is 1 less than this. That is 0.4 times P. So just use this. This can further be simplified as 4 by 10 times P, which is 2 by 5 times P. So this is a simple interest. So let's use it here. So simple interest is 2 by 5 times P. P is as it is, an unknown. So time will remain as T. Whereas rate of interest is already mentioned to you as 5%. So that is 5 divided by 100. As you see, P cancels. This is 5, this is 20, this is 5, this becomes 4. 4 we will take here. So T here is 2 into 4, that is 8 years. So in 8 years, a principal amount will become 1.4 times itself at 5% per annum rate of simple interest. Let's have a look at the next question. At what annual rate of simple interest? So R needs to be found out here. Will a sum of money, the value is not mentioned, so let's take it as P, become 3 times itself in 5 years? So amount, this is T anyhow, amount we know is N times P. So simple interest is N minus 1 times P. So these are simple, small things that you need to remember. So amount which is mentioned here is 3 times itself. So principal becomes 3P in 5 years. So simple interest will become 2P. Now using the formula that we have, so simple interest is 2P. P remains as it is. And time period is given here. Rate of interest is what we need to find out by 100. The P's cancel 5. This is 20. So rate of interest here is 2 into 20, pretty high. That is 40%. Obviously, in 5 years, if you want your money to become 3 times, the rate of interest would be as high as 40%, provided it is simple interest. Alright, so you saw that in simple interest, the basic things that we need to know are that SI is equal to PTR by 100. Amount is principal plus simple interest. Amount is N times P. Then simple interest is N minus 1 times P. So primarily, you should be aware of these 4 things. And for varying rate of interest for varying periods, SI is equal to P by 100, T1R1 plus T2R2 plus T3R3. So in a nutshell, these are the 5 things, or let us call them as 5 formulas that we discussed about. This is the crux around which a question based on simple interest would be formed. So just remember the basics, apply them, and solve the questions. We will meet again in the next session with another topic. Till then, thank you so much. Wish you all the best. Do well and stay safe.